Hello, everybody. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville. You are on the lifeboat. Well, people, earlier today we tried to do the 3 o'clock, and as I had mentioned, was having some pretty serious trouble with the internet. As it turns out, um, truthfully, I wasn't having trouble with the internet at all. What the problem was me. Today I was outside doing the roundup of acorns and leaves that has to be done, every year at this time, and it's just overwhelming the number of people. Deja Moore, good to see you. Fiona Crispin, always nice to see you. So today I was raking up leaves, getting rid of acorns, doing what I do, and in the process of doing this, Miss V, good to see you. In the process of doing this, I was using a power tool, and I apparently knocked the cord out of the hookup for AT&T in the garage. I wasn't even aware of the fact that there was a hookup in the garage for AT&T. I thought that all of those things took place in the living room of my home. So I unfortunately thought that this was something that was related to a problem with AT&T. After hitting the reset button and going through all of the things that, the troubleshooting that I knew had to do, we phoned AT&T, and they said it appears that the power to your router is not hooked up. I was ready for an argument until I realized that, I had accidentally knocked this out. I then went and took care of that and made sure that, from there we were good to go. So now this is live with internet hookup. You will notice, people, that I am back in the office. I am not in the pilot house of the boat. The reason for that is my partner on this venture, Mark, is under the weather, people. So Mark could use thoughts and prayers. We don't believe that this is the C+ math. It's none of that, but he is having some issues. And if we could keep him, in our thoughts and in our prayers, we're, I'm sure that he's going to pull through this, and, he'll be back raring to go here shortly. But for tonight, I will be flying solo, like the good old days. You remember when I used to sit at this desk before I got the brand spanking new polished boat that I have been hanging out on. So back to the basics. A couple of things. If we could continue our thoughts and prayers for all the people we've been talking about. Noah, we want to keep Noah and his family in our prayers, as well as Brittany has eyes and her mom. Want to make sure that we keep them in there as well. Obviously now Mark, and let's not forget Ryan. Ryan is fighting the good fight. He has, if you missed one of the live feeds where we were able to talk about it, he has put on 25 pounds, and he is going through the process. He has checked himself into a proper rehab and is going through the process of getting that done. He did a detox. Greg F., good to see you. He went through the detox process and medically assisted, which I think is a great thing with alcohol. You definitely want to make sure that that's a step that you take if you're really, really seriously abusing alcohol because of the dangers. I am not a doctor, people. We've talked about this, but I know a decent amount about what goes on with the addictive processes. And with alcohol, you can be in an awful lot of danger if you quit cold turkey and you're far enough along. I'll always get someone in the comment section that says, I quit cold turkey. You can be an alcoholic that drinks 6 beers a day, or you can be an alcoholic that drinks 2/5. If you're consuming so much alcohol that your BAC, that your blood alcohol count is getting up into the 2s and the 3s, then that's something that is going to require some help from the medical community to ensure that you don't go into the delirium tremens, the DTs, and threaten your life. It's the second leading cause of death in in jails across the United States. Excuse me. The first cause would be suicide. The second would be that. So we want to make sure that we keep all of those people, going the proper route. And if you find yourself in those shoes, please do seek out medical advice. Talk to a proper doctor before you start doing that. People, it is the time of year where those of us with distinguishing palates, who really understand good stuff, takes the time to indulge in candy corn. This, however, is something that you may not have seen. Brandon Calloway, it's good to see you, my brother. Still out there fighting the good fight. Proud of you. People, Nerds. Are you seeing this? This is Nerds candy corn. If you're not a fan of Nerds, there's something seriously wrong with you. Nerds are just fantastic. So Nerds candy corn, you talk about two great tastes that are just great together. They don't really taste exactly like candy corn. They really do taste more like Nerds, but they have the consistency of candy corn. So it's if you see those on the shelf, do yourself a favor. Grab a bag of those. You're going to be happy that you did. I'm going to duck out of the camera for a split second. Yes, I do realize the danger in this, but I'm going to duck out of the camera for a second, everybody. All righty. Camera's still there? Good. This morning, after I took care of the lawn and started to deal with all of the acorns and things along those lines, jostled the camera slightly, I spent the rest of the morning doing this. If you happen to to get access to certain places that sell half-price books, that's one of them. The one here is called Grassroots, which is an amazing used bookstore, and they were having a special, right? 10,000 books outside. They had to cover them in plastic with some tarps because it's been a rainy time here in northern Nevada. We're getting on that time of year, but $1 a book, right? So I went out and got a great selection of titles that I am going to be going through. These are going to be things that directly affect the show because these are all rehabilitation related. I have referred to this book time and time again since I started the channel. This book, Dreamland, if you get an opportunity to get this book, it's still in print, it's readily available. It's written by Sam Quinones. You've probably seen him. He was on a couple of different major news agencies at one time or another. He was on Fox. He was also on CNN. But he does a deep dive into what caused the opioid epidemic in our country. The latest statistics are actually worse than what I have been quoting here on the Lifeboat. We talk very regularly about how, as many as 190 people a day are dying of drug overdoses. They're saying that number is probably considerably higher because of how many people end up in situations where, they die and it is unreported or it is misdiagnosed and misreported. But the numbers are actually higher than that, people. For the first time since in 2008 is actually when we saw the big shift. But what happened is for the first time, you will have a better chance of dying from a drug overdose than you do a car wreck. It is now, believe it or not, it is the leading cause of death for people under the age of 50, right, in the US. That is absolutely terrifying, and it is the world that we live in. Now, there are a lot of headway. There's a lot of headway being made into this particular part of the drug war through the use of DAT, which is drug-assisted therapy. We've talked about this on the show before. I am in drug-assisted therapy. For those of you who are new, if you have not heard this, I take a substance on a daily basis and more than likely will until the day I die. They tell you that they want you on it for 5 years. I don't intend to phase off of this. We'll see what happens in 5 years. I mean, I may change my mind down the road, but there are studies out there in ad nauseum. You can read anywhere you want to go. You can read about what they're now calling opiate dependency disorder. And what this is for people whose drug use, especially drug use when it comes to heroin or any other opiates, reaches a level where the brain chemistry shifts to a point where, for most of these people, if you look at the statistics, depending on whether you're male or female, 98 out of 100 men will die still using once they hit opiate dependency disorder, right? For women, it's 99 out of 100. So it's not, the odds are really stacked against you if you slide that far along. Now, the use of Suboxone, and there's a couple of others, Subutex is one. Subutex is a little different because they don't have naloxone in there. Naloxone is what they give people who overdose, right? You've probably heard about it under the name brand Narcan. And what they do is they inject it into fat or muscle. So if you work as an EMT, they'll go left cheek, left shoulder, right shoulder, and that's usually how it's done. So the first two shots are administered in the buttocks, and if that doesn't work, they go to shoulder. Traditionally, unless you really have done a ludicrous amounts of opiates, most often heroin, then the first shot will usually do it. And what Narcan does is it binds, right, the opiates that are cruising through your body. So you've got opiates coursing through your bloodstream, right, fast, going around and doing their thing, wreaking havoc. Narcan gets in the system, binds that together, carries it to the liver where it's done, right? So I don't know what I just missed. I should stop squirreling, I'm sorry. So Narcan is something that they use to counteract the effects of an opiate overdose. It is also mixed in. Joe Birdwell, good to see you. It is also mixed into the buprenorphine, which is the drug, the active ingredient in Suboxone. Suboxone gets into the bloodstream, and it binds to the receptors at the base of the skull. This is the part of your brain that basically screams to be fed opiates. By coating those receptors with buprenorphine, your body believes that it's already been taken care of. And that physical craving and that psychological craving that takes place goes away. That gives the addict an opportunity to start getting his life in order or her life in order. And over the course of 5 years that they recommend that you're on it, they'll slowly step you down. In theory, at the end of those 5 years, many people will move on. Some will not. Our stance, and by our, I'm referring to the two people at the helm of this boat, myself and Mark Wages. Our stance has always been that there are drug-assisted therapies that make a tremendous amount of sense for people who are fighting the good fight, especially as it pertains to opiates. There are also people out there who feel that the only way to sobriety is to grit your teeth and go through the pain and the withdrawal. By the way, people, I never did a chemical withdrawal using Suboxone. I did the cold turkey. In fact, I was on the protocol of not doing anything and just going that route for the better part of 4.5 years. And then what happened is, as I was getting released from prison, I was contacted by the Bureau of Prisons, who encouraged me to look into this program. And the reason that they did is because on paper, I was the perfect candidate as far as they were concerned. And what made me the perfect candidate was, I'm not bragging, I'm just telling you what the file was. I'm a fairly well-educated guy. My ability to communicate, my ability to think critically, these things were not particularly damaged in spite of the fact that I did these drugs for as long as that I did. What they wanted to do was, I'm a guy that on paper, if you look, the only problem seems to be heroin, right? The rest of my life seems to go well. But as soon as you add that heroin, once it starts, it's all over, right? It is just a matter of time before I start to commit crime. It's just a matter of time before I start to, unravel. And I am going to end up back into a prison cell at some point. That's just what happens. So as opposed to that, what they wanted to do was eliminate the possibility of me craving the drug that tends to kill me, right? The drug that's going to destroy my life. I volunteered for this program. The government was the one that actually initiated it, and it's been the best thing that has ever happened to me. Mark feels the same way. 10 years, Mark has not done opiates other than, Suboxone, which is actually, people, this is a confusing thing, and I suggest anyone who's curious about this, read about it, because I could very easily spend the better part of an hour describing exactly how this substance works. But it is an agonist and a partial antagonist, right? So it technically is not an opiate. It just acts exactly like one in the body. But opiates have one thing in common, right? Across the board. They come from the poppy plant or from opium. Almost all opiates, true opiates, come from the poppy plant. Now, there are synthetic opiates that mimic exactly the same chemical makeup, but they just didn't come from nature. It was 1804 when morphine was first distilled from the poppy, right? 1804, morphine was invented. And once the morphine molecule had been synthesized for the first time in 1804, immediately, literally immediately, we started to have addiction. Opium, there were tons of opium addicts throughout the years, but what the refining of opium into morphine did was made a much more clean and a much more regulatable, delivery system for the drug. That that actually got even worse in 1853. In 1853, the hypodermic needle was invented. Oddly enough, the person who invented the hypodermic needle, the first person to ever then overdose on an opiate through a hypodermic needle was his wife. Once somebody had the opportunity to take morphine, put it underneath their skin and directly into a vein, we started losing people. That was the start, really, of a crisis that is now really just reaching its epidemic proportions, especially here in the United States. In 1898, things got a little bit more advanced. The people at Bayer, you all know who Bayer is, right? They make your baby aspirin. They also make Roundup. They bought out Monsanto. Monsanto and Bayer are now one company, and they make Roundup. So pretty much everybody knows who Bayer is. And in 1898, they went one step further with the morphine molecule, and they invented something called diacetylmorphine. Now, all this was one small change in the chemical makeup, right? One more link that was added to morphine. And that one acetyl molecule that they added allowed something to happen, which was a passing of the membrane through the blood-brain barrier. What this meant was, instead of having to course through your body and sort of catch the brainstem on the way by, as it got into the brain, it would seep out through the blood vessels and saturate the brain instantly. And this is the reason that the people who abuse morphine don't get the same rush as the people who abuse heroin. Heroin is about 6 to 8 times normally the average strength of morphine, but the delivery system, because of how it passes through that blood-brain barrier, gets you a buzz that's a little bit different. It's one of the fastest acting drugs in the world. If you drink, or depending on what you do for drugs, we're talking about that fast. As the plunger hits the bottom of the syringe, you're already starting to feel that buzz because of how fast blood courses through your body, and because that one more acetyl molecule allows the drug to get into the system so fast. It created a more addicting version of the morphine molecule. We find ourselves today with so many people a slave to that morphine molecule, and there really has never been an answer, right? Other than white knuckling it, getting in there and saying, I'm going to live the rest of my life without this substance, in spite of the fact that there is a longing and a calling and a screaming. And there's a whole group of people who like nothing more than to say to people who use Suboxone or any other drug-assisted treatment, whether you go with Suboxone, there are people who are also doing methadone, but instantly, once you start using a drug to beat a drug, people want to call you a junkie. They want to hurl sticks and stones, and it's something that those of us in recovery have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. I have found that I'm over it. I really am, people. My duty, most importantly, is to me and my family. I did not realize at the start of this that my family would become 1,680 some odd people, right, in a 90-day period of time. But my responsibility is to you all. Now, for those people who have problems with the Suboxone concept, I realized that was going to happen. I realized that there would be issues with this, and I remember discussing it with Mark, my partner here on the boat, extensively. And to be really honest, people, I didn't need to tell the world. It's not something that is glaring. You don't look at me and go, ooh, he's on drugs. For someone who has opiate dependency disorder, no one's going to notice that you do Suboxone because there is no real chemical change. Yes, it goes in and coats the brainstem, but you don't start doing you don't get the affectations that you're so used to seeing with people who actually do real opiates. Um, I chose to tell everybody on the boat that I was taking this substance, not just because page three Tommy was going to be somebody that didn't lie. It's a huge part of it. But way more importantly, the stigma of this drug has to go away. It has to, because it's a matter of life and death. I'm not being dramatic. There's 200 people that are going to die today because they don't take it. There are 200 people in this country today who could take a drug every day that would ensure that not only would they not overdose, but they would have an opportunity to live a normal life, to pay taxes, to get a driver's license, right? These things, to the rest of the world sound like pretty obvious stuff, right? Who above the age of 16 doesn't have a driver's license, right? Who works a job doesn't pay taxes? Addicts addicted to opiates, right? Who get opiate use disorder. Trust me, they're not paying taxes. Trust me, they're not bothering to get driver's licenses. And if they do, they're going to get suspended because the first time they're driving a little bit too fast to go see the dealer and they get a ticket, they're not going to pay that ticket. They're not going to show up in court. These are things that don't matter because there's only one thing that matters. When you're in that life, the only thing that matters is getting the next fix. Plain and simple. Now, I did a show, seems like years ago, but it was probably in August, where I talked about trading one addiction for another. And 99% of the time, when someone says that they traded one addiction for another, it's a really bad thing, right? It's somebody that says, "Well, I'm going to quit doing alcohol. I got to get clean off of that. It's ruining my life. I think I'll just start snorting coke instead." Believe it or not, people, this is something that happens constantly. Or a heroin addict that says, "I'm going to get off of that, but I'm going to drink every day instead." If you're trading one addiction for another, it's probably not such a great thing. But if you're trading an addiction for something that is going to eliminate all of the headaches and all of the problems of addiction. So let's think logically for a second. If you're a heroin addict, or pick any other opiate, it doesn't really matter because they all are all the same. They really are. They're all some derivative of the morphine molecule, right? That's it. So let's say for the sake of argument that it's heroin. When you get up in the morning and your eyes open, right? The sun comes through the window, the eyes open, you are on the clock. From the time that sun comes up, you got about 2.5 to 3 hours for the average addict, at which time you're going to start getting sick. And within about 5 or 6 hours, that sickness is going to get to a point where you can't control your bowels. You're going to start throwing up. The muscle cramping and the stiffness is going to be to the point where you can't work, you can't walk. It really does become that bad. So that sun comes up. I would say the alarm goes off, but no addict sets an alarm. They don't need to, right? The need for the drug is going to wake them up. But you start running. And for most of these people, there's only a couple of options, right? They're going to steal. They're going to hustle, meaning work cons or stand on a street corner with a sign begging for money, or very often sell themselves. It's one of the products that supports more heroin addiction than just about anything else. These are people who prostitute themselves for the next fix. Let's look at the other option. These people get up in the morning, the sun comes up, they're not going to get sick within the first 2 hours of being awake. Because when John Lewis, the gentleman who synthesized buprenorphine for the first time, and he didn't do it as a way to beat the morphine molecule, that was not what he was looking for. In fact, it was just not even an issue at that point. What that man was trying to do was invent a substance that they could give to women who couldn't take morphine so that they could get through childbirth. That was the original concept. They didn't realize for decades that this was something that they could use for the treatment of heroin addiction or opiate addiction. The reason it works so well is really twofold. Number one, because of how strong it is in terms of attaching to the brainstem. For lack of a better way to put it, people, it plays king of the mountain. You need to think of the brainstem looking like your fingers coming out, right? You got all of these little receptors. So you do heroin and the receptor comes and it grabs on and it stays there. It stays there until a tougher opiate can kick it off. So if you're doing Loratab, right? You're doing oxycodone or hydrocodone or any of those that are attaching to the brainstem. When heroin comes along, that's a stronger opiate. As it binds, it's going to shove the other one off, but it's strong enough where it's not going to create any of that precipitative withdrawal where you start feeling like, oh, everything got kicked off. When Suboxone does that, it comes in and cleans the receptors, gone. Everything comes off except for the buprenorphine, the drug that is the main active ingredient in Suboxone. Then the second ingredient, naloxone, comes in and plays its game. Bizarre. But what it's going to do is it's going to break down half of the bioavailability of the drug. Now, this sounds crazy, but listen to what's happening. You take 10 milligrams into your body. The Narcan's going to block about half of it. So even if you're taking a 10 milligram strip of this, and they actually come in 8 milligram strips, but only about 4 to 6 is going to be active because the rest of it is going to be blocked by the naloxone. The naloxone is also then going to make it so that you can't take any other opiate. That's key because the person who's taking Suboxone every day can't be doing a little heroin on the side. Doesn't work. It causes them to get sick. The other thing that was amazing about this drug is how long this drug lasts. You take an 8 milligram strip at 6 o'clock in the morning, and you can go about 36 to 40 hours before you're really going to start being in full-blown withdrawal, as opposed to 8. Now, this all may sound like mumbo jumbo to you people, but the reason that this is important is back to the guy who, when the sun comes up, has to start running. Now, the man taking buprenorphine, right, through drug-assisted therapy, when that sun comes up in the morning, he gets up, he takes a shower, he shaves, he can put on his work clothes, he can go downstairs, he can eat breakfast, and at some point in the next 5 to 6 hours, most do it first thing in the morning, but at any point in the next 4 to 6 hours, he's going to take that substance. And what it's going to do is, it is going to go up there, and it is going to coat the brainstem so that he doesn't have to worry about a voice screaming for him to go get heroin. He's not going to wind up at a store stealing things. He's not going to wind up, or she's not going to wind up selling herself on the corner. The dangerous parts of the addiction, right? The things that people do in order to feed that addiction are taken off of the table. And now the addict can concentrate on rebuilding his or her life. Now, if you're an individual who finds that evil, I'm curious why. What about that as a concept rubs you the wrong way? Doesn't make a tremendous amount of sense to me. However, everyone has a right to their opinion, and you can come here and tell me that opinion. You can't come here to disrupt for no apparent reason. And if your account is an hour and 45 minutes old, you're here to disrupt. I have a duty, and the duty is to me, my family, and the crew, who is my extended family. And by the way, to all of you out there who just really hate the concept that I'm on Suboxone, you're also probably not happy at the rate that this crew is growing. Do you know why it's growing? Because this is a place where the hate that these people spew on a daily basis doesn't take hold. Here, everyone becomes part of the mission to spread the love necessary in order to get sober, and more importantly, to be happy sober. There are a lot of people out there today who are sober and they're miserable. And that misery always ends up, not their own, it ends up being pushed onto anybody else who seems happy. They can't stand it. Those two things can't coexist. You realize this, right, people? Happy people are repulsed by hate, just the way people who hate are repulsed by happy people. They don't coexist nicely. Now, at the boat, we have gotten a very serious push in one direction, and that is we hate the hate. We're not about hating the haters. So for you lurkers who are listening to me right now, who have wished me death and all of the other fun things that you do, we're praying for you guys. We really are. We're praying for you. And if the white knuckle sobriety that you're living through right now is making you miserable, email me. Email me. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville at gmail.com. If you want to come back and you want to be part of this productive, happy, healthy, you got a shot. Come back here and be a part of it. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't, because these people are entrenched in hate. It's sad, but it's true. So that's all I got to say about that, people. Joe Birdwell. Let me tell you something, people. This is an important, Joe, I really appreciate that, my friend. But what I appreciate more is that today, right, we're into the third week of Joe's life. For real. And I am not being over dramatic. This man's life really did start 3 weeks ago. The rear view mirror, it's getting foggy. It really is. And I promise you, Joe, over time, that rear view mirror is going to become so opaque, you're not going to be able to see through it anymore, because the life that you left behind is leaving fast. People, we have talked so much, and I am going to continue to talk. The first time you probably heard it on this channel, it came from Mark Wages, and he said the key to not being sober, but the key to being happy and sober is creating new memories. And I take that a step farther. It's new contacts. It's new everything, right? New places, new people, new friends, new jobs, all of it. Now you say, well, I got a good job. That's great. It is. But if you're going to work the same job with the same people and those people use, then you're really got an uphill battle. You are going to be fighting, because technically, think about what you're doing, people. You are doing the definition of insanity. You've all heard this, right? This was Albert Einstein, I believe, made it famous. But he said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing again and again and again, but expecting a different result. So if you hang out with the same 5 guys, right, and you do the same things and you go to the same places, nothing in the fact that you say, I'm not doing dope anymore. People, one of 2 things always happens. If you get 4 people together, right, and 3 of them are doing dope all the time and 1 isn't, do you think the odds are good that the 1 person sober is going to get those other 3 clean, or the 3 is going to drag that 1 down? You've heard every cliche known to man. If you lay down with dogs, you get up with fleas, right? You can tell a person by who they hang out with, right? How great was it when Rhett, right, our grizzly brother, came on and said, boy, I had a lot of friends that were idiots. You know why they were friends? Because I was an idiot too. You can tell exactly who a person is by who they hang out with. Why do you think the boat's growing by 20 people a day? Because the people who are trying to fight the good fight, the people who are trying to get sober, want to be surrounded by people who are fighting the good fight and trying to get sober. It's pretty basic stuff, right? Well, here on the boat, we protect our own. And how do we do that? We do that through support, through love. We don't judge. We don't do any of that. And for that reason, we try to make sure that people here are all on the same page. I'm going to catch flack. I promise you. And it's going to get worse over time, because I'm not going to allow people to come here and jeopardize the sobriety of anybody on this boat. Anybody. Because your sobriety is why I'm here. That's it. You know, you'll hear the haters. Oh, he's here to get rich. People, do a little research on how many YouTubers get rich. I promise you, people, what comes in goes out. How many people you know with 3 microphones, right? Everything goes back into the boat for a reason, because what we're doing is a matter of life and death. And I don't just mean if it's opiates. Obviously, if it's opiates, that's huge. But if you're drinking and your drug of choice is alcohol, whether it kills you or not, it's killing you. Honestly, it's in many ways, you almost got to feel worse for the person that spends 85 years an alcoholic than you do for someone who loses the battle and goes to the other side in their 40s. Because living a miserable existence where your life is ruled by a chemical, it's no way to live. It's not how we were designed. And I don't care what you believe. I don't care if you believe we crawled out of a puddle. We are sentient beings, right? Our ability to think and think the way we do really separates us and makes us so unique a creature. We have the ability to think about things like philosophy, like religion, right? Love, these thoughts that are esoteric, that are just so much bigger than what do I got to eat? Where do I got to sleep? Right? Am I cold? Am I warm? There are a great many creatures that walk around this planet. How many of them do you think contemplate the thought, why am I here? What is my mission in this life? How did I get here? Was I created by a higher power? The ability to think these thoughts make us so unique, right? Truthfully. And no matter what you choose, whether you choose God, right? Jesus, Allah, Brahma, Buddha, Krishna, who cares? The fact that you seek makes you unique. The fact that you have these thoughts makes you the most unique thing created or evolved or whatever you believe. But how happy can you be if you don't have control of yourself? Right? We're all in the same boat. There are a great many addicts listening to the sound of my voice. And you all know what it feels like to not be in control of your own life. Now, you know where I stand. You know what my beliefs are. I don't shove them down your throat. But there's nothing worse than hypocrisy. And I'm not going to sit up here and pretend that I don't believe in a God. I'm not. It's who I am. And I won't preach to you. But for me, I was created. I believe that wholeheartedly. And I sure was not created to stick needles in my arms and spend every single moment of every single day worshiping a hypodermic needle or worshiping a black, tarry substance that is going to make my problems go away. It's not how it's supposed to be. It's not. So what needs to happen is we need to eliminate those problems. It's why we're here. It's why you're on this boat. It's why you showed up here. So, day to day, we fight the good fight and we support each and every person who does. Again, if you're new to the boat, and I know people, I'm saying things that you've heard so many times, and you're going to have to hear them again. The reason is there's a bunch of new people every day that are coming on board, and they all need to understand what it is we do here. So, let me be perfectly clear. If you're using, if you're getting high, if you're getting drunk, you're getting loaded, whatever it is you're doing, we're not here to tell you there's something wrong with you. And we're not here to judge you. Oh, look at this guy. This guy's getting high. You know, we can't have him here. This is the sober boat. It's not the sober boat. It's not. It's the lifeboat. It's a big difference, people. Yes, we want everybody to live a life free of chemicals. But if you're on them, you need to be here more than if you're not. Right? We get that. Now, we would like you to listen as opposed to just hanging out and talking. We definitely would like you to pick up a little bit of what we're talking about. And there are people who have been here for 2 or 3 weeks or a month. And then finally, the one thing that they hear that clicks makes them want to say, I'm done. You think I'm kidding? If you haven't met Joe Birdwell, please do me a favor and go watch the interview with him, because it's one of the most powerful 1 hours that you're ever going to see in social media. You know, Rhett Griffin, go watch his. Go watch Derek's. Go watch Journey's. Read any single one of the goodbye letters. Listen to me read them. Check out exactly what's going on with these people. And you're going to find something that is amazing. In a great many of these people, their sobriety dates coincide with the age of the boat, right? They came here. They were users. Joe Birdwell came here before he was sober, and he hung out and he watched, and then something clicked. So if you're using, just keep coming back. We're not going to judge you. We're going to be friendly to you. I've said it a million times, and I'll say it again. When the time comes for you to make the decision to get sober, to make the decision to put drugs in the rearview mirror and have them no longer be a part of your life, then we're going to be here for you. We're going to support you. We're going to love you. We're going to tell you everything that we've learned through our mistakes so that you can move forward and live a drug-free life. But until that time, we're going to love you. We're going to support you. And we're going to give you the exact same information. And we're going to be here not to look down our nose at you, but to put a hand out. Because we have learned something very valuable. The greatest way to ensure that you can stay sober is to help somebody else stay sober. It works. I'm telling you, people, it works. You know, it really does. I believe that Joe is leaving the building. Did I see that? Joe, if you are, my brother, before you do, just know this one's for you, man. Joe, we are so proud of you into week 3, right? You know what comes next? The next big landmark. When you hit 7 days, we talked about it. I said, people, he came on and he said, I know it doesn't sound like much. Of course it does. Oculi mortis. Boy, am I glad you're here, man. I was going to go and get you. You are so lucky you are here. People, I was on my way to Oculi's house today. We both live on the best coast. So I was on my way to Oculi's house. There was a miscommunication. Before I get to you, Oculi, Joe Birdwell, I am so proud of you. And when we were done with the interview and you said 7 days, it's nothing. I said, the heck it is. 7 days is huge. And more importantly, it's the first milestone. You know what's happening, right, brother? You're 7 days away from the second milestone. Now we're not counting days. We start counting months. And that's a big, big difference, right? 1 month down. You're into your second month. On day 32, brother, you'll be into your second month. And then from there, the next big milestone is the year. And we saw someone came on today, this morning. It was a short video, people, because I'm an idiot. But while they were on here, they said 7 more days, and it's going to be, boom, there. They're going to hit the 1 year mark. And then it gets really, really great. Because every day that goes by, you get a little stronger. I'm not saying everybody does. I'm not. But everybody here does. Because we're creating new memories, and we're creating new bonds, and we're creating new connections. The more connections that you create, whether they be friends, jobs, hobbies, working out. I was shopping today for books, right? Stop. No squirrel. Oculi mortis. From time to time, my brother, I will say something that can be misinterpreted. Not just the oculi, the whole group. But yesterday I said something, and I think Oculi believed I was talking about him. And I'll tell you something. I love this man. He's one of the most supportive people that we have on this boat. And I've known him a lot longer than most of you. Oculi and I have been associated since long before there was a boat. Long before there was a Tommy Scoville show. And no, Oculi, you're the best that we have to offer. You really are. You're the top of the food chain. And this boat isn't this boat if you're not on it. So don't make me drive and find you. I can do it. Especially since you're on 1 wheel and I'm on 4. Sorry, people. And if I sound like I'm going off on a rant at all, from time to time I have to. You understand that? What we do here is different. It's so different that there are times a guy said that I was a sham. Well, you're going to come across that. I promise you're going to come across that. Look, people, anytime you start doing something and you're successful at it, people, they look at this from the outside. You understand? If you look at the lifeboat from the outside and you're not seeing what's going on here, you see a guy in a hat, and I am the representation to them of what is successful. They look at the number of people coming onto the boat, and they think, this guy's building a channel that's successful, and for that they hate me. It's the truth. It's what trolls do. I have nothing to do with this. That's the difference between looking from the outside and viewing from the inside. This is a group of people that have come together to aid and assist one another in every aspect of what we do. Pulling these connections and bringing them together. Every single aspect of what we do takes place inside the boat. They don't see that. They see the hat. They see a guy standing at the wheel, and they hate me. If you come onto this boat and you hang out for a week, how can you hate what we're doing? I mean, honestly, how can you hate what we're doing? We're taking people and teaching them how to live a better life. And everybody on the boat is teaching people. I talk. I give people things to think about. And then all of you weigh in. And there's so much life experience. I had somebody say to me, what qualifies you to do what you do? I don't know, 30 years of doing dope, right? The fact that I got sober and the fact that I read more about this stuff than most people will read. I mean, literally, what did I buy today? 6 or 7 books, something somewhere in there. It's a drop in the bucket compared to the number of books that I have read. And I almost bought one today, people, because you just would have got a kick out of it. But I didn't think it was super relevant. I almost bought it just for the laugh. But they had a book called Make Your Bed. And the really funny thing is I turned over the back cover and I was reading it and I thought, boy, do I wish the entire boat could see this right now. Because how can anyone hate El Capitan? Oh, they're out there, my brother. They're out there. People who are unhappy, and they got to point it at somebody. And I'm happy. I'm living my dream. And for an awful lot of people, that gets tiresome. They don't want to see somebody live their dream, right? And what they see is a monetized channel. And they think that my success has something to do with the eventuality of driving a Ferrari and being a YouTuber. Well, then they never came here. They don't understand what success is. Joe Birdwell, his success. That's success. You understand? Ryan, putting on 25 pounds. That is success. Alan, Valentine, right? Going from, boy, do I hate kilos, but going from about 300 pounds and losing massive amounts of weight and now having his A1C to the point where they're not calling him a diabetic anymore. Yeah, I'm winning. Right? We're winning. That's what we're doing here. And there are people who can't stand that. If they looked at what winning meant on this boat and what it is we do, then maybe there wouldn't be so much hate. Sorry. Back to the book. So I'm looking at this book and it's called Make Your Bed. Now I say every day, people, you hear me constantly talk about this. When I get up in the morning, I make the bed. It seems so insignificant. I know, to so many people. And I get people all the time who joke and say, well, I'm not going to make my bed. I'm going to try to do this. I'm not telling you how to live. I'm telling you how I live. And if I start my day with a goal this big, right? Those things start to add up and they start to become more successful. If you've ever been in sales, there is an entire school to what sales are, how they work, things like that. Read tons of books on it. Back in the day when I sold everything, I used to read about this stuff. And they would tell you, get somebody to say yes 17 times in a row, and the next one is going to come easy. You ever go to buy a car and someone says, hey, you having a good day? Yeah. So your name was Todd, right? Yes. And this was your wife. Her name is Mary, right? Yes. Everything they're doing is to try to get you into the mindset of continuing to say yes and yes and yes. So when they say, you wanted the $60,000 car, right? With the Rusty Jones auto treatment, treatment on the bottom of the car, right? And the extended warranty, right? Yes. It's the same principle of making your bed, people. One itty bitty little goal after another. And they seem so insignificant, don't they? But if you line out and start doing something every single morning when you get up, say, who cares, Tommy? You gotta care. I don't care what your routine is, but these connections that I talk about, these memories, it's all about training yourself to be successful in a new life. So I get up in the morning, I make the bed, brush my teeth, right? Doesn't everybody brush their teeth in the morning? No, addicts don't. Seriously. I mean, you get up in the morning and you're dope sick and you're hurting. I promise you, you're not going to the bathroom to brush your grill. You're going to the store to steal something. Now, maybe after you get that fix and you can take care of that gnawing and that pain, yeah, maybe you'll take care of yourself. But that's it. It's that maybe. Well, maybe I'll do this today. Maybe I'll do that today. Maybe I'll do... No. You get structure. You start to put your life together in such a way that everything you do says, I'm successful. Everything you do says, I can do this. I'm going to make my bed. Boom, it's done. First thing of the day. I knocked it out. Then for me, I take care of the religious aspect of my life. Boom, it's done. Right? I've communed with my higher power. I've thanked him that I'm sober. I've prayed for the people that aren't. I pray for the haters. I knocked that out. I brushed my teeth. So by the time I'm going downstairs to make a cup of coffee, there are 3 things that I needed done that I did successfully. Small stuff, right? Small stuff adds up to big stuff. So that by 5 o'clock, when I got something serious that needs to be done, I'm going to do it. Friday's my day off, people. Let's see. This last Friday, I had to go see the doctor again about this number. So when I got up in the morning, I had to go see my boss and tell him about everything that happened with my finger. Then I had to go and take a drug test because I have to do that for the state. And I wanted to open up a new bank account because all of the money that I got, I keep in cryptocurrencies, and I need something that is a dollar-based bank account because it makes life easier when you're doing other things that seem to be, I don't know, more normalized. There's parts of society that hasn't accepted crypto yet, so I need a bank account. But I had a list of like 5 things that I needed to do. Before I left the house, I'd already knocked out 5 things that I needed to do. I got up, I made my bed, I brushed my teeth, I did all of these things. It sounds silly, right? Then you don't get it. And I'm not busting your chops, I promise you. But you have to completely rebuild who you are. And you have to get so many new things that you link into. You understand? But I've never said anything about this, but seeing as Tommy mentioned it, in 18 months since I stopped drinking, you may not have mentioned this, Alan, but I did on the air, brother. You think I could not tell everybody that? Oh, I was so proud of you, I couldn't breathe. Miss Fiona Crispin, thank you so much. I really appreciate you, Fee. Honestly, I do. That's awesome. Alan, I shared that with the world, and you did give me permission, if you remember. I mean, I sort of said I was going to do it one way or the other, but they needed to hear that. People, Alan is doing it. Alan's winning, right? A1C down to where it's supposed to be. Lost weight 18 months ago. Page 2 Alan was a wreck. He was a wreck. Today he's not. Because today he's doing the things that need to be done, and he's got new points of contact. He's got new memories. He's got a relationship with a higher power that he didn't used to have. He's got brothers that were not, born of the same mom who love him. No, you don't have to say sorry. Sorry, Alan. I should have apologized for not telling you that I had done it, but I had to put that up, brother. I couldn't. I was, like I said in the email, I was proud enough for the both of us. If you people remember what I read, and I'm sorry, Alan, I got to do this, but, Alan said, I had to tell you about this because I'm really proud, and, I'm not proud that often. Well, you need to be. You need to be. You're killing it. How can you not be proud? You're killing it. You are making new points of contact, and you're not just making friends, you're making family. Do you know the number of people, I swear to you, when I bring up your name, the number of people who say, oh, I love that guy. How many people said that about you when you were page 2, Alan? As I'll tell you something, nobody said it about page 2, Tommy. They didn't. That's not something that people said. Nobody said, I love that guy. Nobody said, boy, he's doing good stuff. I got an email. No, I'm sorry. I got text messages today from somebody who's on the boat. He's a member of the crew. And he said 6 or 7 times, what you're doing is important. I love you. What you're doing is important. People, you think I heard that a lot before I got sober? Hey, what you're doing is important? No, I wasn't doing anything important. Everybody here, right? Not just me. This is what the haters don't get. When you say, man, how can anybody hate El Capitan? Because that's all they look at, right? It's all they look at. They're not doing so well, Their channels aren't growing. I'm sorry for them. I really am. Hope things go well. I don't wish bad on anybody anymore. I'm not that cat. I'm not. I hope that they're successful. I hope everything goes great for everybody. I would like the whole world to be successful. But we're going to do it here because we don't hope. We take action, right? Everyone's doing it. Everybody on this boat comes here, and it's a new point of contact. It's not enough, right? It's not enough to be sober. You have to do things differently than you've ever done before. How many of you took time every single day of your life to come and support other people? Did you do a lot of that when you were an addict, right? Counting of hands? Nobody. Who does that? Sober people fighting the good fight on this boat do that every single day in, day out. How many times in the comment section have you heard somebody say, hey, where's so-and-so? Yesterday, Deja was not on the night cruise. And everybody was saying, where's Deja? Where's Deja at? Because they care. Because we're all part of this interconnected thing now where we support one another. Noise Opera, good to see you, my brother. Welcome back. Everybody cares. They're all here to support one another. We notice when somebody's not here. Did that happen a lot when you were living in the life? When you were an addict? Were people saying, hey, where's so-and-so? No, not unless you had the bag, right? If you're somebody that got somebody high every day, yeah, maybe, you know? I'm sorry, people. I was just checking something. I want to be hated by the people that hate Tommy. They do. They hate you, brother. I promise you. No, thank you, Noah's Albert. It's good to have you back. Alan Ballantyne says, I love Deja. She's the best, right? People, this is what's going on. If you're new to the boat and it creeps you out a little bit, that everybody here loves everybody, stick around for a minute. Watch. It's contagious. It is. Just like doing the wrong thing is addicting, so is doing the right thing. It's the greatest kept secret in the world. Doing good is addicting. You know what my father's favorite expression used to tell me all the time? I would talk to him on the phone and Dad knew what was up. I mean, you couldn't know me and not know that there was something wrong. And he tried so hard. He really did. He did everything he could. But when we would hang up, he would say to me, do good and fear not. Do good and fear not. People, if you come here and you fight the good fight and you do good, you got nothing to fear. For real. Amazing things happen when you do good. The haters can't stand that. Does that make sense to you? They can't stand that. They don't like seeing people do good. They don't like seeing people who sleep well. They don't like seeing people who are comfortable with who they are. Right? For real. Because they're miserable in their own existence. And when you're miserable in your own existence, there's only two things you can do. You can spend a good deal of time looking in the mirror to figure out exactly why it is that you're miserable, or you can hate all of the people that are happy. The sad thing is that it takes way more effort to hate the people who are happy. It really does. The amount of time and effort that they put in to hating, they could live a beautiful life and fast. They really could turn their life around. Remember the myths? The myth is that it's so hard to quit. No, it's not. It's easy to quit. It's hard to stay sober. You got to work at that. That's something that you have to do, like a job. And how do you do that? Well, you come here every day. It's a heck of a start. Not because of me, but because when you come and you start to care about other people, it affects you. It changes you. It really does. People smile more. Alan Ballantyne and I email each other pretty much every day. We do. We're on the same page in terms of so many different things in life that we spend a decent amount of time emailing back and forth. And the man loves life. The man is getting to a point where he loves life. That's where I'm at. You know how good that feels? People, if you're listening to me and you don't love life, keep doing what you're doing, because you're gonna. I promise you. Keep creating more points of contact. Do some push-ups, right? Walk. Start doing things that you didn't do before. Don't do the same things over and over again and expect that you're going to get a different result. Because people, that is insane. Jacob Forster says, I won't reveal my weight, but I've dropped 50 pounds this year. Oh, I'm sorry. Deja Moore said that. Deja, good for you. Good for you. That's awesome. That's awesome. It really is. That's one more example of winning. Now, depending on what it is that you're fighting, you're not going to win overnight. You're not. You can make the decision overnight. If what you're struggling with is an addiction to food or an addiction to sugar, you can make the decision to change your life. It's a tough one because unlike Joe Birdwell, who's going to start seeing instant results, you have to put in time and effort. But I'll tell you something. Come here, and people are going to support you and love you. And very oftentimes, if what you're struggling with is an addiction that isn't as chemical based, so you're gambling, right, or you're eating, or you're watching porn, or any of these that are more of a lifestyle addiction and less of a chemical style addiction, those habits are very oftentimes more difficult to break. They really are. because they're usually driven by something far more, Fiona. they're because they're usually driven by something more. See, Fiona got up and brushed her teeth today. God bless you, Fiona. See that? Small little goals, people, knocking them out. That is good stuff. That really is good stuff. So many chemical imbalances, all of us. Yeah, there are so many chemicals in all of us. It's the truth. It really is. And look, people, there are chemical imbalances that aren't going to get fixed on the boat. Right? There are chemical imbalances that require you see a doctor, a professional, no joke, proper, MD, or at least going and seeking out medical advice on these things. So what do you, where does the boat come in? We get you into a mindset where you want to fix yourself, where you want to go get help. Because for so many people, no, they're done. No, I'm done. This is it. This is how I'm going to live. This is who I'm going to be for the rest of my life. You've heard so many people, the people in the interviews, the people in the goodbye letters. This is just what I thought it was. Remember Rhett Griffin? He said, he did everything. He got all of the things that were supposed to make you happy, right? He had the white picket fence. He had the jobs. He had the house. And he said, if this is it, if this is what you get out of life, this sucks. It's not enough. It's not enough to just say, I'm done. You got to be happy. You got to be happy, right? We're not here to say we're all going to quit drugs and be miserable for the rest of our lives. Raise your hand if you want to be unhappy and sober. How about that? Nobody wants to do that. Can't say that I blame you. The Bubba News says, I can't stress it enough to those who want to stop cold turkey as an alcoholic. ICU for 5 days for me to detox. I would have died without medical intervention. Please tell me you all heard that, right? Please tell me you all heard that. This is nuts and bolts, really, really important life or death stuff. Bubba, thank you so much for sharing that, because I can say it all the time from the front. But when you hear it from somebody that lived it, that's really, really important stuff. Bubba, thank you. And thank God you're here, man. Thank God you're here. And I mean alive and breathing, because you can cold turkey off of booze and die. You really can. The Sith Lord says most people think happiness should be just handed to them. Yeah, most people do. And something that a lot of people don't seem to get, Sith, also is it's a choice. It is. And I don't mean you go, I'm going to choose to be happy and life is perfect. It doesn't work that way. But you have to choose to try to be happy. And it's a choice that you have to make daily. Don't you know those people who choose to go the other way around? Huh? Because I promise you, they're all over the place. Right? There was a question earlier. Who can hate El Capitan? People who get up every morning and choose to be unhappy. It's a choice. And they get up every single day and choose to be unhappy. Whoa! Sniper Max says, I'm going to get my ass off the bottle. But no one has taken my pipes and cigars away. Wouldn't dream of it, brother. Would not dream of it. Completely up to you. We don't tell you what to get off here. But if you're choosing to get off the bottle, come back here, brother, and we will support you till the bitter end. We will absolutely celebrate every single step of this all along the way with you. We'll support you, and we will be here. It's what we do. And I can't tell you what a cool comment that is. That is such a cool comment. Sniper Mac, God bless you, man. Do me a favor. If you want to talk off of this forum, reach out to me. You can get everywhere. There's no problem. Brandon Galloway says, I failed. No, you didn't fail. No, you didn't fail. No, you drank, but you're here, right? You didn't fail. We never quit quitting. If you quit quitting, you fail. You had a misstep. You had a misstep. I don't know if you saw over on the safe harbor in the lifeboat, somebody had put up something that says, when a kid learns to walk, they get up onto their feet and they teeter around, right? And they take 2 steps, and what happens? They drop to their butt. And we don't look at the kid and go, you dropped to your butt. We say you took 2 steps, right? It's the most exciting thing in the world as a dad when you see your kid take the first 2 steps. They don't walk for the rest of their life. They fall down, right? Those first 2 steps are usually accompanied by a fall to the ground. But we don't talk about the fall to the ground ever. No. What we talk about is the 2 steps. So Brandon, you didn't fail. Knock that off. You didn't fail. So you've been drinking for 7 days. I got an idea. Tomorrow morning, say this is it. Start again. Come here. We'll be here for you, brother. But you only fail if you quit quitting. And we don't quit quitting here. If you really failed, why would you be here in the comments section? You're here because you want to succeed. Yeah? You didn't fail, Brandon. Please. People, you hearing this? You hearing this? Words matter, brother. Words matter. And you did not fail. You didn't. Paul Coelho, great author, wrote tons of amazing books, all super, super positive stuff. Just, if you've never read anything by Paul Coelho, you need to, right? Go out there and get them. There's just amazing. The Alchemist, right? Some of the books that he wrote are just, life-changing. But he's the guy that said the key to life is you get knocked down 7 times, you get up 8. So Brandon, you got knocked down. Get up. Dust yourself off. We love you. It didn't change a lick. Think we look at you any different? We don't. We love you more. You're here. If you failed, then I failed 7,000 times, right? We're all here and we're happy and we're saying, hey, the captain built a boat and, this is awesome. Well, then let's talk about how many times I fell down, right? Shouldn't that be how many times I fail? No. You say, the boat's awesome. This is the place to be. We're doing it, right? That's what we talk about. You didn't fail, man. You didn't fail. Plain and simple. I'm sorry, but you didn't, right? You're like the little kid that took the steps, and you had taken a bunch of them. You were doing great. So you fell to your butt. We're not going to talk about that. It's not what we talk about. Get back up. Use your hands. You'll teeter for a sec, and then start taking those walks. That's what's going to happen, man. I'm sorry, people. I said something just popped up there. So, yeah, people, that's Andrea Tillett. I don't believe ever welcomed you officially aboard the lifeboat. You have posted some of the most beautiful things over on the Facebook Lifeboat Show on Facebook, and it is. I love the stuff that you put up. I really do. It's unbelievable. Really, absolutely unbelievable. Thank you. And thank everybody that's been there and putting the stuff up on the Facebook group. There are some beautiful, beautiful things being put up there. You really need to go and take a look at them. They're life-changing things. I'm not building that up any more than it deserves. They are absolutely life-changing things. The Bubba News says, Fee Crispin and Deja Moore, you are awesome. That is a very popular sentiment on this boat. Couldn't agree with you more. Absolutely awesome. And you will find that as you get to know everybody here on the boat, there aren't too many people here that aren't. That's just the nature of what goes on. I swear to you, people. What a crew. All right, folks, we ran a little late. And I'll tell you something. I didn't do a whole lot of question and answer. I did weigh in on some stuff. But I needed a rant. It was that day. Every once in a while, you just got to rant. Oh, yeah, Chi-Chi. Look, there are so many people. We could spend the next 25 minutes calling out names of people on this boat that are amazing. I tell you what, it would be a real short list if I asked you to call out the names of the people that aren't. And Andrea, thank you again. Please continue to post the things that you do over there on the Facebook page, because they're just they're so uplifting. They're so beautiful. Really. People, I'm not overplaying this. I'm really not. You need to go over there and you need to take a look at some of the stuff that Andrew's put up there. Some of the stuff everybody's putting up. That I know that there's a bunch of people that hate Facebook. I'm not a fan either. But boy, what we've got going on Facebook is really a whole lot different. I don't spend a lot of time on Facebook, but I really try to spend a lot of time over there on what we're doing on the group, because the group over there is really just awesome. And Saigon Cinnamon says, I appreciate anyone who has said a prayer for me and my family. We all know what happened with Saigon and the loss of a family member, his four-legged family member, and that was, you know what, we all felt that. We really did, and that's, I think, the nature of the family here. You got to watch out for Wages World. As a fellow Hoosier, he's how I found y'all. I love it when your teenager in a chat saying hi. Hi, Dad. You know what? I love it when my teenager is in the chat. It's an absolute beautiful thing. Really is. I don't know. I don't believe that Cedar made it in tonight, but she does a lot. It's we're a family, man. It's great to see family here, and there aren't too many places I'd be comfortable having my daughter pop in, but it's a good one here. It is really hard losing a pet. Anybody, if you were listening tonight and the good fight's a struggle and you need a little bit more than what you're getting right here, check out the Facebook page. There's a lot of really positive stuff there. If that doesn't get it done and you need a little bit more, I'm not hard to get a hold of. I'm not. And I do, believe it or not, man, I answer my emails. Talk to the people. I answer my emails. If you reach out to me, I promise you. Hey, thank you, Fiona. Thank you so much. Teenage daughters have made you bald. What are you kidding? Trust me, I get it. All right, people. Reach out to me by email if you need me, please. Don't leave anything on the field, right? Let's put it all out there. Take every single tool that you got out there, and I'm one of them. Yes, I just called myself a tool. Everybody get a laugh. Okay. I am Captain Tommy Scoville. This is the Lifeboat. The coolest people on social media. And what we're doing here, it's going to bring in a lot of love. It's going to bring in a lot of success. It's going to bring a lot of people into a life that they can live and be happy and proud. Right? It's going to. And it's going to bring in some losers and some haters. It's just part of the deal, people. Let's concentrate on what's important, huh? And if you happen to pray for the haters. For real. They need it. They really do. Pray for the haters. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville. This is the Lifeboat. Between now and the next time we get together, which is going to be first thing tomorrow morning at 8, you know what I want you to do? Yeah, you do. I want you to get out there, and I want you to save somebody. Invite them here. Tell them that there's a better way. Get out there and save somebody. God bless you. Good night. I'm out of here.